born of the mountains, blood of the Indian. He lives by the way he hunts. He rekindles the fires of the past and roams in buckskin. He survives by hawking and longbow. He's forged by the elements. Journey with the last of a breed, Sasquatch, Mountain Man.
This country just amazes me. You look and you wouldn't think a whole lot could live here, but there are a ton of mule deer, a ton of javelina, Barbary sheep, and it's all free range, all wild as can be. And it's the rut, which that's even better.
Limestone, shale, called them Spanish skirts, geological formations that inspired conquistadors and modern-day mountain men.
You know, this hunt is going to be something different for me. Usually I'm out hunting in the wilderness, you know, chasing critters in the middle of nowhere. Well, I'm still in the middle of nowhere, but I'm actually on a private ranch. It's called the Maxwell Ciela Ranch. And I'm chasing mule deer. And you look around and you're like, man, where do these suckers live? It's so open, so dry. You wouldn't think that they could survive very well out here, but I tell you what, there's a lot of deer. And it's gonna be fun. And another little twist to it is I'm hunting a couple specific coal bucks. I'm not used to that. I'm used to going out and providing for my family and hunting the first halfway mature thing that walks by. But this is gonna be fun. Be a challenge. You look how open it is, how loud it is. That's a challenge in itself. You throw in the, you know, old time open sight, 120-yard gun. Here we go.
It's different country for Laramy, and it may not look it, but for centuries, Mescalero Apache hunters made a pretty fair living here. Hunters like Geronimo.
You look down here and this is a perfect canyon for mule deer. You got cover. They got a lot of places to evade predators. You got water, you got food. It's kind of hot, so I'm guessing the deer are going to be bedded down in the shade. Just going to have to put the glasses to work and try to find them.
Glassing these canyons, Laramy's looking back millions of years.
This is a big 10,000-acre, low-fence, free-range ranch, and I'm chasing one particular buck on this whole property.
Most of Texas is ranches. It's up to landowners to help manage the wildlife herds. And part of that means getting hunters like Laramy to cull full-grown bucks with poor genetics.
Got a pretty decent buck up here, but it's not the buck that they want me to take. Another young buck.
Hunting in habitat like this can mean more glassing than hiking. If you don't see a buck before it sees you, you won't see it at all.
I got this big 3x2 straight up behind this. There's like 50 deer in here. It's so hard to stalk because they're all seeing us running everywhere. I'm just gonna take a chance, drop right down in here. Let's just walk up here. We'll go to the left up here, see if we can see down in, and then just kind of make a circle in case that big buck circled around.
it's down to a trigger pull. It is the rut, and the bucks are following the does around like they were tied together with a rope. Soon as this doe heads off across the hill, sure enough, the buck follows.
Well, I'm just gonna work up the hill a little bit. Go on to the next one. Man.
Amid the ancient canyon geology of West Texas run herds of desert mule deer. And for Laramy Miller, the hunt is on for one special buck.
I'll tell you what, this country is really open and it's super loud. It's the middle of the mule deer rut in January. Down here in Texas. I've got a buck bedded down here. Like I've talked about, the interesting thing about this hunt, something I've never done. I'm actually after one specific deer. I'm trying to help them manage the mule deer population here because they've got a lot of genetics that they don't necessarily want breeding in here and all that. I'm just having a blast stalking around this country. You get lots of opportunities. There's a lot of deer, but when you're after one specific deer, especially with the old smoke pole, that's a challenge. So I got a mule deer down there. How I'm gonna get to him, I don't really know. It's so loud. There's 5 or 6 does around him. And I don't even know if it's the buck that I am trying to get. Gotta get a little closer to find out.
It's big country, and you have to hope there's enough contour to let you stalk your way through it.
Well, this is pretty cool because this is a pretty decent buck up here, but they take their management very serious. This is a big 10,000 acre, low fence, free range ranch, and I'm chasing one particular buck on this whole property. We've got, probably a 4.5-year-old buck bedded down up here, but it's not the buck that they want me to take. But it's still awesome. I'm 80 yards from him, he's bedded down. Don't even really know I'm here. A couple does around him. That's not what we're looking for.
Mule deer have to hunt to find enough to eat out here, and even parts of cactus can form an important part of their diet.
That buck we're after, when you look around this country, I've seen 20 other bucks, but not him.
Careful glassing and stalking lets Laramy get into range of a possible ideal cull buck.
I got a buck right here chasing a doe, and this is a buck I want to shoot. He's got 4 on one side and just 2 on the other. But he's a mature buck.
Even better, he's carrying plenty of weight, which means there'd be bountiful venison for Laramy and family. In West Texas desert mule deer country, Laramy Miller's on a mission. He's here to help the ranch owner manage his deer, which means holding up till he sees just the right cull buck.
You look around, and this is amazing country. It's rough, rugged, and there's a lot of it.
And it's hard imagining how much wildlife is on it. Laramy's seldom seen more mule deer in one place before.
Got a good management buck and some does right up here. It's so open, it's gonna be almost impossible to get close to them, but I don't have any other choice. I'm just gonna start walking straight to them, and if they kind of spook, I'm gonna try to close the distance to 100 yards.
All those deer ain't just more to hunt. They're also more ears to hear the sound of footsteps, and more eyes to see an approaching mountain man. Every step Laramy takes, though, is one step closer to a shot. And one step closer to the buck lighting out for other territories.
It's too far. It's so open. I was trying to get within 100 yards, and I got there, but he was running. He ran off about 200 yards and stopped. It's just too far. That was an old deer, just a big 3x3, but definitely a deer you want to get out of here. I think I'm gonna drop down, see if I can circle around, because it's a big plateau right here, so he's gonna have to cut back down one of these canyons. I'm just gonna head over and see if I can cut him off.
One thing you can say for sure about old Laramy, he's hell for trying. Laramy's chase just might be ready to pay off.
There's a buck right there. Can't tell what he is. He's gonna go up the side of that hill. That's definitely a buck we want to take.
Apache, conquistadors, and mountain men all passed through this land, and game is still here. Out of all the mule deer, Laramy has to find one specific buck, and now he just might be close to doing that very thing.
There's a buck right there. He's gonna go up the side of that hill. That's definitely a buck we want to take.
Slow and steady now.
Dropped him in his tracks. Oh, This has been ridiculous. I mean, walking through here, there are deer everywhere. And there's so many mature bucks that just, they're either 2 on one side and 3 on the other, or 3x3s, or not your typical 4x4 mule deer like you think of. And so that's what these guys want. They want to try to get some of these bucks out of here, and that's what I'm doing. I'm feeding the family. I'm getting to shoot. This is awesome. I got some hides. I can do this every day. And look, I find a shed horn. That must be an omen. I will go up and check this buck out.
If he's happened to wonder why Laramy's packing a hog leg, let's let him explain.
There's one thing that is not making me squishy about walking through all this stuff up there. It's warm enough today, there could be snakes out. So if Sasquatch pulls out his pistol and starts shooting, you know what it is.
Looks like Laramy made it, snake-free.
Wow. Oh. Look at that. That is awesome. Let's see here. This deer right here, I mean, he's plenty big enough for me. I'm out here, I hunt for meat, for the experience, for the hide. Yeah, shooting a nice critter every once in a while is awesome. But if you want to grow big deer like they do here in Texas, they have some of the best management plans out there. Strong herds, big antlers, you know, more dominant deer. If you want to grow deer like that, you have to take deer like this out of your herd. You look at his genetics. He's only got 2 on this side. And, I mean, barely 3 on this side. Perfect deer to take out, and I'm tickled to death. Something like this has got to go if you want to grow big deer. And I sure am happy he did go. It's just more meat for me. I got me some mule deer jerky now. The funny thing, I have a vegetarian cameraman and he even loves mule deer jerky. Think about that. It's hot enough, I gotta get the guts out of this thing quick. Well, now it's time to get him the heck out of here. Down to the flat.
Off of the mountain and onto the fire.
So this is gonna be my first time eating West Texas mule deer. I hope it tastes half as good as Rocky Mountain mule deer, because it's one of my favorite meats.
One thing for sure, there's more mule deer where that one came from.
Not bad. I'll tell you right now, Texas might have a new resident.
Late summer on the mountain crests, and the birth of a new hunting season.
Well, here we are once again, chasing bugling bulls in the high lonesome of Colorado.
The best thing, they say, for the insides of a man is the outside of a horse. And even better when that horse is carrying you to the object of your desire, the American elk. At these elevations, it's good to have 4 hooves to pack you up the slopes. All too soon, the climb will be on 2 legs.
Doesn't get much better than that. 12,000 feet on top of the world. Mountain man's paradise.
This time of year, before first snow, elk live as close to the clouds as they can reach.
Good job, Scout. Well, we're just about to the top of the mountain and I'm starting to see some pretty good elk signs, so I'm gonna tie in the horses up and go up and see if we can't get into some elk. I'm getting close to their bedroom, so all on foot from here.
If you was doing any soft living in the summer, this is when you're gonna feel it, from your lungs to your feet.
Fresh elk sign, I like it.
More than 2 miles high, and all the slopes rising, with not a one heading down. The air's been squeezed out of the sky like water wrung out of a sponge, and each step becomes more punishing than the last, as your body burns up oxygen faster than a cutting torch slicing through cold steel. You wonder when this miserable mountain will ever top out, and you can only say you'll know it when you see it.
I just hiked up, 2,500 feet probably in elevation, sitting at about 12,000 feet right now. And I look over and there's a big mine shaft right here. It gives you a whole new respect for a lot of them old timers. They were tougher than heck. I mean, I couldn't imagine digging a hole. Heck, you can't even see the bottom. And they did it all by hand. In this rocky crap. They were tougher than I am.
Drop in a rock, and it might just come out on the other side of the world. Unless that old prospector's still digging down there, looking for that vein of pay that always eluded him. Laramy'll just have to leave him be, though, and go on looking for his own treasure. You know the elk are there, but for the time being, they seem to be having a bad case of lockjaw.
Yeah, that bull's got cows. He just bugled again. He is in a nasty spot. You gotta be real careful in this kind of country. I mean, heck, we could get bluffed out, rock slides. Just, I'm gonna have to take it slow and easy. And the only way I can figure right now is I'm gonna get on that side and just work my way down that side of the drainage. And hopefully I can get lucky. This is why these bulls grow big. Not too many people want to get in there and chase them. When I'm reluctant, you know it's bad.
Sometimes the best way to find an elk is to ask him to tell you where he is. Silence may be golden, but in hunting elk, sometimes you do well to raise a ruckus. Makes you begin to wonder if that pine's got any bark left on it. In point of fact, it's no more than what a bugling bull does to a tree with his antlers to take out his frustrations.
Well, I think there's officially 3 different bulls in here. Not 2.5, 3. It's more like 2 1/4.
You might say they're more than you can count on your fingers, Laramy. Time to head down and check it out. The high lonesome at the end of summer. Time to ride after bugling bulls. They may be located, but they ain't yet found.
Well, that's the freshest swallow I've seen. It's still about 48 hours old, but he got after it here for a second. I'll throw out a bugle, just see maybe.
On a scale of 1 to 10, this is like a 15 for nasty. But you gotta go to where the elk are.
Call them song dogs, sagebrush canaries, prairie wolves. Whatever name you give the coyote, you have to call him Survivor, who'll still be yodeling long after we're dust.
Well, I guess those coyotes didn't like all the elk action in here, because boy, they fired up. There was pups and adults and everything yapping away. I just hope that bull fires back up. On cue.
Well, that elk don't seem to be drawing any closer, so time to get back after him. It's a raghorn, but it'll eat good and might be worth a shot.
Close, but no cigar. And close doesn't put food in my belly. Once again, here I am stalking through the dark timber. Walk right up on a bull at 30 yards. I got him to stand there for a minute, but he's in the trees. He heard something, so he knew something was up, and he just kind of trotted on off. He's not really spooked, but being there's a little satellite like that, there's a herd in here somewhere, so they're not talking. If I get close enough, they should talk. I'm just gonna keep working my way through these trees, see what happens.
I cannot believe all the beetle kill in here since the last time I hunted this area. With all those dead trees, and there's too much sunlight. It's sad. This used to all be dark timber, good bedding grounds for elk. Now, there's no leaves or anything left on any of the trees. All the pine boughs are gone. It's just a matchbox. You wouldn't think a critter so small could cause this much devastation. But they do.
The elk are staying high, but Laramy Miller never was one for flatland. A young bull, perfect for the meat bowl. Then, gone.
Close, but no cigar. If you look right here, this is a perfect transition area. The bedding is right over here and over there. They like to feed in here before they actually go out to the meadows. It's middle of the day, but a lot of times the milk will get up, especially if we got a real bright moon. The milk will get up and they'll feed throughout the day, then they'll lay back down. So I'm gonna sit right here, I'm gonna call a little bit, just soft cow calling. See if I can't pull one of them bulls in to come check it out. The whole thought process here is I'm wanting to make these bulls think that there's just a couple of cows that are lonely over here. I don't want to bugle at them. I don't want to intimidate them. I want them to get curious and come check it out. So I'm gonna sit here and I'll cow call every 3 or 4 minutes for 45 minutes. And a lot of times the bulls, they'll just get curious. They'll come sneaking in. They won't say nothing, but they'll come sneaking in to check it out. Guy can hope. These elk really don't want to talk. It's been kind of warm. It's cooling off a little bit today, but it's still... I need a good cold front to come through to kick these elk in gear, because it's tough hunting conditions right now. I'm gonna call for a little bit here. If nothing else, I'll just take a nap like the elk are, I guess. Wait until this evening. It's about the only option I have. I think I just heard an elk bugle over there.
The elk are down there where the trees still throw some shade. But to reach them, Laramy will have to get moving quick.
I've been cow calling for a while and I just watched an elk move up the other side of this draw. So I'm gonna move in behind and see if I can't call it back.
So far, elk are as thin as the air up here. As soon as they appear, they disappear.
Close, but no cigar.
Now, it's time to make a move on the elk.
You know, you just look around and look at this beautiful country. I mean, it's so majestic. These big alpine meadows. There's no place I'd rather be. To me, that is what makes it all worthwhile. And I'm at a loss for words because I grew up here. I grew up doing this. And every time I'm here, it still takes my breath away. And not just because I'm walking at 12,000 feet either. Absolutely amazing.
Wind's starting to swirl. We only got About an hour, hour and a half left of daylight. Either I'm gonna have to make a move or he's going to. Pretty ideal spot to find some elk. I crested up to the top of this rock. And there was a young bull. And he was just walking right there. I think he heard me, but he didn't know what I was. Wind swirling.
Despite dry, noisy ground and a swirling wind, Laramy's gotta make a move if he's gonna have a prayer of getting a shot at this bull with his bow. It's a done deal. If only the bull were older.
That's what it's all about. I'd had about a 12-yard shot. He needs a couple more years on him. Well, that's what it's all about. You don't have to kill an elk to be successful. That made my trip.
Some might say that Laramy's coming down off the mountain empty-handed. Some might say that, but they'd get an argument from Sasquatch. But then, he can't help but have a loftier perspective. For Laramy Miller, the peaks are always calling his name. The creeks are running clear and cold, a sign of good hunting.
We actually got clear skies. Weather's been absolutely horrendous. Been raining, snowing, sleeting. Looks like we might actually have some good weather. That's good for bear hunting.
After holing up through the storms, the bears will be moving to feed, which does increase the percentages of coming face to face with one of them.
Tell you what, this kind of bear hunting isn't for the faint at heart. Those bears, they really like these avalanche chutes like this because there's no tree cover, so that's where the first green grass comes up. I might sit down here, find a good spot, vantage point where I can see all that and sit and watch for a while, see if I can't catch a bear moving across one of these slides.
Without a good set of eyes and a better set of binoculars, there ain't no bear hunting.
You know, a lot of people might mistake the fact that they don't see that many bears to the bears aren't here. Well, that's not the case. You go walk through that brush and you'll see bear sign everywhere. But you won't see a bear because you'll blow them all clean, maybe into the next county or over into Idaho. Getting to be bear 30, but a lot of this country, it doesn't look that thick when you look over there, but with the foliage on it, it's so thick you can't see underneath it. So them bears could be feeding in that brush. You're never gonna see them. I just gotta hope one steps out into the open and then the chase is on.
The thrill of hunting bear ain't in the critters alone, because they inhabit some of the most snarled up territory a man ever laid eyes on, where disaster could be just one step away. Sneaking is real hunting, and sneaking on a bear is the realest hunting there is.
Got a bear down here in the woods about 60 yards, but it's so thick, all I can see is just bits and pieces. Beautiful cinnamon bear. This is gonna be real tough unless that bear comes out into the open, because I can't risk getting any closer.
They say a foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, so Laramy's quick to take the risk he said he wouldn't and see how much closer he can get to that bear.
He's looking right at us. He's in the brush. He just walked to the left.
Laramy's done well to get this near, but there's only so low you can fly under a black bear's radar.
Dang it. You know, it's frustrating. As much as I love the mountains, you put in so much work that sometimes coming up empty-handed is frustrating. But then you gotta take a step back. You truly do win some and you lose some. Although some bear bag straps and I could really use that bear fat would have been real nice.
For Laramy Miller, there's lots of ways of hunting black bear, but the hard way's the best way. If there's anything better than a Dutch oven filled with hot biscuits, nobody's claiming it.
You know, these bears, they've been hunted enough that over the years they learn where to hide, where they can feed in the middle of the day for the most part. You know, pressure teaches them a lot. Places that get hunted harder, bears don't come out as much. You go into places that are more remote, you'll see bears at all times of the day.
This must be the time of day for this bear to come over the mountain to see what he can see. Looks like Laramy may have an idea about how to improve his black bear odds.
This would be a great place to set up a little ground blind, man-made ground blind. This is a pretty ideal situation. There's a bunch of game trails moving through here with bear sign all over. So I got this blind that I built. I'm gonna sit here for the afternoon and find something to bait with. It's a perfect situation. It's been real rainy, real nasty. They haven't been moving too well, so you gotta be resourceful.
Part of Laramy's resource is that where he's hunting today permits the use of bait to attract the black bear. even more than attracting bear. What Laramy is setting up is a way for him to identify what's in the woods and how big it may be.
As you can see, what I did is mountain man trail camera. Got my bait here. Something's been hitting it. I don't know if it's the crows or what, but I put this mud in front. So if it's a wolf or a bear, when it comes in, it's going to step in that mud, and I'm going to know exactly what I'm dealing with. I'm going to know what size of animal, the whole work. So hopefully it gets hit again. Well, as you can see, most of the bait's pretty much gone. All that's left is my mountain man trail camera, and all I see is peck prints, so the ravens have cleaned me out. I don't believe it's a wolf or a bear. Maybe better luck tomorrow.
Good thing about hunting bear in the fall is the chance to prove whether variety is the spice of life, even when it comes to wild game.
Sometimes you gotta forage, sometimes you go hungry, sometimes you gotta eat small game. Well, it may not be turkey and stuffing, but it's better than berries. You gotta be an opportunist. Take whatever Mother Nature gives you.
It's hard to think of a more mountain manish game than bear. For Laramy Miller, it's all about the tricks of the trade. And they tell him he's feeding the ravens. Time for the birds to feed him.
But these bears should be coming out. They'll be staying close to their dens, but they should be out and about, moving, finding the green pockets of grass. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for these little green pockets of grass that are close to cover where these bears will be out feeding.
One good thing for Laramy is that he has the best bar none rifle for the job. Many consider the Hawken the Stradivarius of firearms. Master craftsmen, the Hawken brothers used the finest walnut and maple for stocks, turning out only a score of elegant rifles a year. Indian bows were more rapid fire, but the mountain man's Hawken could reach out to 200 yards, giving him a superior range of protection. The Hawken was also the great equalizer when the mountain man met old Ephraim the bear. With Kentucky rifles, it took a squad of hunters to stop a Bruin, but one man with one Hawken could stand his ground on a bear trail.
And in beautiful Mother Nature in the Rocky Mountains, life is good.
For Laramy, this bear hunt is about to turn into a jungle adventure. For Laramy, it may be just one step away from walking up on a riled bear.
That's what's so awesome about spot and stock bear hunting. Yeah, you got people who can sit over bait all you want, but when you're out there walking around, then boom, there's a bear. That's what makes it all worth it.
A bear may be only yards away, so Laramy wants to make sure he has fresh powder and ball stuffed into his charcoal burner.
Bear ran off, but it wasn't spooked or anything. I don't know. I don't think it smelled us because it would have really took off out of there. But it might just be sitting in the woods right there, so we'll give it a few minutes and then I'll try to sneak in, come in at a different angle and see if it's not laying down right in the edge of the woods.
As the saying goes, a feather fell in the woods, and the turkey saw it, the deer heard it, and the bear smelled it. So if the wind is even just a little bit wrong, that bear, he's lighting out for the territory. Now is the time. Of all the creatures that wander the Rockies, you have to believe that the two closest are the black bear and the mountain man. And without bear meat and hide, well, it's likely the mountain man would have wandered less. The troublesome thing about black powder isn't whether it kills, it's the suspense of waiting to find out. They don't call them smoke bowls for nothing.
The way that thing hung fire, I don't know if I hit him or not.
Sometimes the most exciting part of a bear hunt comes after the shot.
Was he standing right here, right there? Well, the way that hung fire, I don't know if I hit him or not. I got chilly. I'm gonna try to find blood. See, the bad thing about it is bears, they take a little bit for the blood to show because their hair is so thick. And this bear took off and went into this thick stuff right away, so the best thing to do, I think, is back out and give it some time. Well, I'm pretty sure I drilled him, but as you can tell from the footage, you can't really see a whole lot, just a big cloud of smoke. I couldn't tell which way the bear went. So I think my best bet is to back out of here for right now. Give this area a little bit, give that bear time to lay down and rest and time to expire, and come back and check in a little bit, I guess. That's all I can do.
Looks like Laramy's got to wait for the clouds to clear to find this bear.
shot that bear last night. Couldn't tell exactly where I hit it or which way it took off because the air filled with smoke and couldn't see anything. Back here this morning, pretty sure it took off this way. So that's the first place I'm gonna check. I'm gonna go in there and see if I can find any blood or see if I can find some tracks. There he is. I wish I'd have walked just a couple more feet last night. Didn't go 30 yards. One bad thing about leaving these bears out all night is the unpleasant smell the next morning.
Still and tall, he's a fine-looking fella.
Here the sun don't shine too much, so I'm not too worried about it getting dried out, but I need it to dry out a little bit so that it'll be easy for me to flesh and get all the hair off. Be like Mama's home cooking.
It's bear meat for sustenance, bear hide for warmth, and bear fat for a little bit of everything else a mountain man needs to make his way from peak to peak. These mesas are islands of time, millions of years etched in the bluffs. But this is about today.
I'm here in Texas. You wouldn't think a whole lot could live here, but there are a ton of mule deer. And it's all free range, all wild as can be. And I'm trying to hunt cold bucks. They've got a couple specific bucks that they want me to shoot. Lots of deer, lots of spotting and stalking. It's gonna be different, but I think it's gonna be fun.
Like the mountain men of the past, Laramy hunts to live. But now it's about living to hunt.
I can't say that I've really done this a whole lot. You know, most of the time I'm hunting wilderness, middle of nowhere. Well, I'm the middle of nowhere, but it's in southwest Texas. I'm on the Maxwell La Ciela Ranch. I'm chasing mule deer. And if you know anything about Texas, they take their management very seriously. I'm here on the La Ciela Ranch, and there's 10,000 acres of low fence, free range. And unlike anything else I do, I'm actually just chasing one specific buck. So that's gonna be a challenge in itself. I've got a 4.5-year-old buck up here, about 85, 90 yards. Just a nice, he's only a 3x3. You know, he doesn't quite have the best genetics, but he's just a nice mature deer. I'm not used to this. I'm used to hunting and shooting usually the first decent buck I see. But that's pretty awesome. But I'm just gonna look at him, move on and see if I can't find the buck they call stickers. It's gonna be fun.
Few animals can raise more of a ruckus among hunters than the collared peccary, or javelina. What is it? Well, it looks like a hog, but it ain't. Some think it's a rodent, but it has hooves. Is it edible? Absolutely. Dangerous? Can be. Its leather is special, and nothing's finer for a pistolero to stalk. For a short-legged critter, javelina are good at getting away.
Everything here in Texas will bite you. The sun, the bushes, the rocks, and even the javelina.
This is a whole new world for Laramy. It's classic southwestern Texas cattle country with the rough left on it. It's also where Laramy has to learn a whole new way of hunting, which means staying out of the Wasatch thorn and cactus needles and sneaking on deer through open terrain.
I got a buck right here chasing a doe.
Let's just walk up here. We'll go to the left up here. See if we can see down in. That's the way it goes. I'm just gonna keep working my way up this ridge, looking off, seeing if I can find him. He's following a doe, so he couldn't have went too far. I don't know where he went. He was hot on that doe. There's no way he left that doe. But which way did they go? I see deer all over, but I can't find him. There's 2 bucks over there. There's another little spike right up here. This is the problem when you're hunting just one specific deer. You would think as open as this country is, you'd be like, oh, there he is. He ran off. Nope. He just pulled the hoop. Oh. No, there he is.
Amid the ancient geology of southwest Texas, Laramy Miller is after one select mule deer buck. Here in the thorn thickets and jagged rocks, the deer hide in plain sight.
You would think as open as this country is, you'd be like, oh, there he is. He ran off. Nope. He just pulled the hoop. Oh. No, there he is. No, that's a different buck. It's a big typical 4x4. That's not the buck we want to shoot. Dang it. He's right here somewhere. Look at that big 4x4. There's a big buck they call stickers. He's got 2 stickers coming off one side and 1 coming off the other. I think he's only a 5.5-year-old deer. It's hard to tell.
For Laramy, all he can do is hike and hope he spots a buck before it spots him. Whatever the javelina may be, a grown one at 60 pounds with a full set of tusks can be a considerable animal, especially in a herd. Just look at its name. Javelina means spear. One advantage Laramy has over the javelina is eyesight. A javelina doesn't see well for much past any distance, so Laramy set himself the challenge to stalk within 10 yards of a boar and to find out if he can take it with his single-action hog-leg pistol.
I made a challenge to myself. I'm not going to shoot it unless it's within 10 yards. I think that qualifies. Awesome. That right there is my first javelina with a pistol. That's pretty awesome.
Look at that. They are the craziest looking little dude. You know, it's crazy because you would think it's a pig. Well, it's not even in the pig family. It's actually a peccary. They are everywhere around here too. And it's one of the funnest spot and stock hunts I think I mean, the fact that you can get 10 yards from an animal, shoot him with a pistol is pretty awesome. Well, take this little guy back to camp. I'm gonna try me some javelina tonight.
Javelina eat mostly vegetation, including prickly pear, and that makes their meat about as good as it gets. While Laramy will enjoy this meal, using each and every part of the kill, he can't help but ponder on the coming day, and if it will bring the mule deer he's been searching for. It's new vistas for Laramy Miller in the desert of southwest Texas. He's after a cull buck to help manage the mule deer. And with each step, there's another lesson to be learned.
If you look, you can see there's a windmill way out in the distance there, and there's a water tank. Well, that windmill is pumping water to this water tank. That's the way these people out here have survived, and their cows have survived for years. I mean, that water tank's probably 150 years old. It's kind of, you know, it's interesting. I feel like I'm in an Old West movie. You know, you watch an old John Wayne movie and you see these big plateaus and big open country, and this is cattle country. Well, that water source not only helps the cows, it helps the deer and everything else around here. So I think to start, I'm going to kind of focus around that water. See if I can get lucky that way. If not, put the miles on.
Along with the livestock and wild game, that water tank might just be a help to Laramy too. With flat ground and little cover, the cattle tank could be the blind Laramy needs to close the distance to the buck.
I see a couple of those over there. Oh, there's a buck. A younger buck. There's a bigger buck. There's 4 deer right there. There's 2 does and 2 bucks. And I think that's one of the coal bucks that they want me to take. I bet they're coming right to this water. I'm gonna sneak up and get behind this tank.
In this loud, open country, you'll take any sort of cover you can find.
Pretty sure that deer is gonna follow them does right to this water tank, so I'm just gonna crawl around the edge and sit there and wait and see if they pop up. See the does coming right there. Here he comes, here he comes.
The 30-30, they say, has accounted for more deer than any other rifle, and it may be about to account for one more for Laramy.
He just went on a death run right there. Holy cow. I mean, he come 25 yards. You can't ask for more than that. This country's so open. I'm really glad I had this big water tank right here, because otherwise I don't know if I'd have been able to get close enough without them spotting me.
This is unexplored territory for Laramy Miller. From his Rocky Mountain home, he's come to the southwestern Texas desert after mule deer, and this looks like the cull buck he's been after.
Wow. Well, I already know that I hit him. I could see blood on the side, so I'm just gonna go up to where I shot him and follow the blood trail down from there. Look. A little old, but huh. This is like a Braille blood trail for the blind. I mean, it's just a non-stop drip of blood. This is the kind of blood trail you like. Wow, look at that. Let's see here. Just a nice, typical 3-point. You know, he's never gonna be anything more than a 3-point. You can tell he's got his frame, he's an older deer. You can tell by his Roman nose here. His eyes are getting kind of squinty. He's got, you know, a bigger chest cavity. When you get him on the ground, the only true way to tell is to look at his teeth. And on this buck, you can tell he's an older buck. He might even be 6.5. He's got real worn down, you know, his molars. You usually look 3 to 4 molar in, and you can see the older they get, the more it craters out, more rubbed off their teeth get. You know, this buck's, he's old. He's older than I thought he was on the hoof, but there's exactly the kind of buck you want to take out if you want to really manage your herd.
For a mountain man, the hunt ain't over until the buck's dressed. And it's not done even then, with packing out and butchering yet to come.
Well, time to head back to camp.
See, this right here is a great way to show you how to pull off the sinew off of a deer. Let me get this out of here and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. See, if you look right here, all this silverish white is all sinew. What I'll do is I'll pull all that off, and that's what the Indians used for everything. They used it for sewing, for bowstrings, for any kind of thread you could think of was animal sinew. You grab the other side, you can kind of see it right down through there. All it is tendon. But that tendon serves a lot of purposes. Me personally, I use it off all the animals that I kill. It's no different off this deer. What you do is you take that right there, you let it dry. Then you crumple it up and it'll break apart and you have sinew. Let that dry right there. But this is dinner.
No better perfume than mesquite smoke and grilling venison.
Bottoms up. Can't beat that.
For Laramy, it's been a new country and newfound wisdom. He's learned from the desert Southwest, miles from home. And in exploring, as the poet would say, we arrive in spirit where we started and know the place for the first time. Before the streams freeze, it's time to go up onto the mountain and see what you can carve out.
I'm really gonna enjoy this hunt. You know, this time I'm not after one specific animal.
It's a time when seasons and licenses all come together like some conjunction of stars and planets.
I'm back here in a place where I have a pocket full of tags. I can go after elk, deer, bear, wolf, mountain lion, whatever I see pretty much.
It's when elk bugle, bears hunt their last fall meal, and the young bucks spar, getting ready for the rut.
I'm just enjoying myself walking around the woods. Let's see how it turns out. This is big country, so finding them isn't that easy. Saying I have a pocket full of tags doesn't mean I'm gonna kill anything, but I'm sure gonna give her heck.
Back at the ranch, Laramy gathered the stock for his pack string, starting with his saddle horse. He knows a good mule is a mountain man's best friend.
Tell you what, this big old mule's almost too tall for me. He's probably about 17 hands. But he's awesome. He moves right down the trail. You know, like I've told people time and time again, the key about packing is you got to make sure your sides are fairly even, you know, within a pound or two. And don't be afraid to get it too tight. It will loosen up. Nothing like having some good old mules in the high country. You know, mules are worth their weight in gold if they're good, because they got such sure footing. You can see a mule's eyes are tilted just a little bit on the side of their head so they can see their back feet. A horse can't. A mule's a lot more level-headed. It's not gonna blow up and hurt itself. A horse, it'll blow up and pull your whole pack string off the edge. A mule won't. This old mule, this is Luke Skywalker. He's a good old boy, huh?
For old Luke Skywalker, it's a mountaintop far, far away with some surprises along the trail. Suddenly, Laramy's horse ain't happy. You gotta look hard, but there's a critter there, making the horse skittish and Laramy boiling.
You know, this is the kind of stuff that really pisses me off. Here we are, we're coming out here hunting. Some idiot has got lake hole traps out this time of year. You're not supposed to be trapping anything right now. It's archery season, for goodness sakes, and you got a mountain lion that's stuck in a lake hole trap. How long it's been there, I don't know. Why? That's why hunters and trappers and everything else gets bad name.
It don't take fish and wildlife long to answer Laramy's call. They gotta prepare a tranquilizer. And once they have it ready, they'll put the lion to sleep and see if they can help it out of its trap.
I'm a conservative above all else. I want to conserve these animals for my kids and for our future.
The dart begins to have its desired effect, and the cougar sinks to the ground and goes out like a light.
If you're gonna take the responsibility to come out here and trap and hunt and everything else, do it ethically.
A diagnosis needs to be made about any injuries, and if they go beyond minor.
I don't know, I don't feel anything broken. Did get her claw pretty bad. She'll be okay.
the lion wins an ear tag at this particular county fair. Now, the puma is put to bed to sleep off the effects of the drug.
That's just sad. That's not a hunter. That's a poacher. It's not fair to the hunters. It's not fair to the animal. Makes me sick.
It's a downright shame, but at least the lion, protected by a blanket of pine boughs, ought to recover fully. Time for more pleasant occupations.
You know, one of the best parts of hunting this backcountry like this is the ride in, because it's just as good a hunting on top of a horse as it is walking. One nice thing about being an outfitter now is I got all my camps set up. I can go pick and choose where I want to go hunt. It's nice for me, but a little more work for the ponies.
Work for Laramy is bucking some timber for the fire.
Right now we're about 16 miles from the closest road. Just the way I like it.
Laramy and his mules are headed up the mountain, and one of his tags is for elk. But there's some trouble on the trail. The delay makes getting into camp even more welcome, though. Up in hunting camp, night is not so much the end of the day as the prelude to another dawn on the track of the game.
Now you look in through here, this is a great spot to stalk in on some bears. There's still some berries in underneath some of this taller brush that haven't been hit by the frost yet. And bears are eating hard right now. I'm just gonna stalk up along this creek. Let that creek kind of muffle the sound of me. Maybe I'll get lucky.
If you know what you're looking for, the bears can give you a highway to follow.
Bears have been all over in here. You can see them ripping up these dead logs and everything, looking for grubs and ants, and you can see how he rolled this over. And if you look up there, you can see the red leaves. Those are huckleberries. I guarantee you there's a couple bears working that hillside. We got a nice big brushy spot up here that the leaves are off so you can see through it. So I'm just gonna sit here and watch it for a couple hours and hopefully I get a bear cruising through there. There's also usually a lot of deer that move through there too because there's a lot of good grass under the trees. I got tags for both.
Beside a creek makes a fine place to sit and glass. Right now, there's a young bear just to sit and watch.
I'm sitting here looking at all this country and it reminds me so much of the country in British Columbia. And there are a lot of bears in country like this. You know, last time I was in BC, I was seeing 10, 12 bears a day.
And not all of those bears were black bears. Laramy had to wonder if he wasn't heading into trouble chasing grizzled bears with a smoke pole. It's a sight to make the hairs on your neck stand up and salute. Here, there's no second place prize for not shooting true.
Now, right now it's fall. You're not gonna see as many bears because they're in the thicker stuff eating what's left over of the grass and the berries, but there's still a high population of bears around here. You know, you take places like Montana and Idaho, they're great places to spot and stalk bears. Bear hunting is something else. If you've never been, I suggest you try.
As the day wears on, the voices of other hunters are heard.
I'm pretty sure I just heard a wolf howl up above here. That creek's pretty loud, so I can't tell exactly, but pretty positive that's what it is. I saw a lot of wolf tracks riding in.
The wolves are back, and hunters are gonna have to find ways to be accommodating.
And you know, the wolves, it's not necessarily what they kill, which they do kill quite a bit, but when they start howling and they start hunting the country, nothing moves. Bears, deer, elk, they all just get in the thick stuff and hunker down. So I'm gonna head back to camp, get some food, try it again tomorrow.
Looks like maybe the horses have heard the howling too.
What are you doing, big dog?
The horses are happy, not only for the chance to get grained, but for having someone to watch over them in wolf country.
Dan, what are you doing?
There's as much joy just riding the high country as getting to where you're going. So far, a small bear's all that's been seen. But Laramy can't think of a better place to be on a fall day. Doesn't mean there ain't tribulations, like tearing holes in your buckskin.
Well, like I've always said, this country can be pretty rough on you, especially your clothing. I had a pretty good blowout. The air conditioning was nice for a little while, until it got about 20 degrees, then not so nice. So I've got just some leather. I'm just gonna buck stitch this back together and call it good.
You gotta be your own seamstress up here. The mountain men learned a lot of their backwoods sewing technique from the Indians. And not just with rawhide, but with sinew, evergreen roots, and even the pointy yucca leaf. That comes with a built-in needle, by the way.
That ought to work. Look at that, just like new. Now eventually I need to fix my pocket. You know, when this buckskin gets wet, that leather, it'll start fraying. I need to get a bear on the ground too, so I can have some bear fat to waterproof my buckskins. All in time, all in time.
With his britches mended, Laramy is seeing if he can find himself something with preferably hooves instead of paws.
Now that right there will make one heck of a pie. Elderberries. I'm gonna have to remember where this little tree is, because I might come back and get me some for a nice pie. But right now it's time to go find a big bull wapiti.
Laramy knows where to look for dessert, but now it's the main course he's got in mind. If nothing else, there's enough here to feed a man's soul. But but here's something for his body too.
You can look straight across. You got a herd. There's like 7, 8 cows. One really nice bull. He bugled, and I heard another bull bugle up on top. So I got to wait till they get in the timber. Then I'm going to haul butt over there and try to get in right behind him and call him out of his bed.
There's 3 satellite bulls with this herd. I don't want to risk trying to walk all the way around, so I'm going to see if I can't pull one of them satellite bulls over here. Just lightly cow calling like a lost cow. He might get excited and come over.
Country's a-waitin', and Laramy has a couple of mountain canaries and a good horse to carry him all the way into camp. He's gotten a good look at a bear, and now he's working down the trail, hoping to get into range of a fine bull elk.
Well, just what I thought might happen. This wind's swirling too bad. He come in, but he smelled us. Got right to the point right there, smelled us, and turned around and trotted off.
It's a double-antlered, non-typical bull, and Laramy's far from prepared to give up on trying to stalk up on it without giving it his best shot.
Well, the whole herd bedded down and right in the wide open, so the only chance I have is I'm gonna have to circle all the way around this point, get right up above him in the timber, and hope that he comes in. There's a couple satellites that just moved in, so I might be able to call one of them in too, but after seeing that herd bull, it's gonna be hard to shoot a satellite. But like they say, you can't eat the horns.
Now, it's time to make a move on the elk.
Just right through this saddle, right on the backside. That wind should be blowing right through that saddle up, so they shouldn't wind us.
I can smell them. They're just right over this edge. There's a cow right there.
It's definitely not my strong suit. It's patience.
If you can't catch him, you might as well enjoy watching him run.
There goes dinner.
Tell you what, my best friends are right here. Look at it.
What?
They say a wink is as good as a nod to a blind mule. But these mules, well, they see perfectly. And they like nothing better than looking down the trail. Rivers, the first highways through the continent, transporting mountain men and their goods. Laramy Miller plies the first trade, beaver, America's first industrial product. the likes of John Jacob Astor and William Henry Ashley, the first tycoons. The free trappers, the first entrepreneurs. 500 years ago, 200 million beaver were damming up the rivers all over. Today, there are at least 15 million of them little critters. They're how and why Laramy can still live the free trapper's life. They say the world don't need trappers no more. Well, Laramy Miller's content to let them go on saying whatever they like. For Laramy, there's a far horizon for the way he lives. The horizon of the North Star in Alaska.
You know, it's always amazing to me how wild this country really is. I mean, there's not a house for miles. I love it. I think I found me a second home. You know me, I'm from the Rockies, but this country ain't no joke. You bring me up here to Alaska, it's a whole different story. This country is a lot different than the Rocky Mountains. You know, it's even more unforgiving. The country is so big. You better know what you're doing or you're probably going to be carried out in a body bag if you ever get found.
It ain't idle chatter when Laramy talks about the dangers of the last frontier.
It's get tough or die out here.
A freak accident, and Laramy's on his way to the hospital and then back to home. Lucky it wasn't worse, and even luckier considering the timing.
But I'm fortunate I did that. Because of that, that got me out of the woods. I was close to civilization, and 6 days later, my appendix ruptured. I think somebody's looking out for me.
Looking out for him. Not least so he can find his way back to Alaska.
There's a nice little stream and some sloughs going all the way down through here, so I'm just going to walk down through and try to find a couple good spots to set some conibear traps, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I can catch some beaver.
Busy as a beaver. Not only can a beaver cut down a whole grove of trees in days, but it can make a tree fall in the exact direction it wants, and usually toward the water.
There's a beaver right there on the ice. I do believe this is a good spot. If you look, there's a beaver lodge over there. You can see they've cleaned this out pretty good, all the little poplar trees and birch trees. They got this dam built right along this old 2-track. This would be a good place to set a few traps. I'm just a little scared on how thick that ice is. I'm gonna go over and check out the lodge and see. See, if you look, it's perfect. You can see exactly where the beavers are moving around under the ice because you got a lot of air bubbles. This ice is pretty thin, but I don't know, I think we can make it work.
A beaver can build a lodge 16 feet high and 40 feet wide, with long teeth that grow throughout its entire life.
So I'm gonna show you right here how to do an underwater set for beaver. You can do it, the best time to do it is with the ice. Otherwise, it's a pain in the butt because you're gonna have to wait out there and everything else. But first thing you do, I've got a 330 conibear right here. Go ahead and set your trap. So you got your trap set, there's your trigger. Like I've always said, you always want to make sure your trigger is on the side that you think that beaver's coming from. So we got the lodge right here. That beaver's going to be coming out of the lodge and swimming. You can see the bubbles where he's been swimming. So I want to set the trigger on this side. And I'm going to do it different than the way I've done it ever before. So you can see I got a couple logs here in front of me. This right here I'm going to use to stick all the way down there so it sticks on the bottom. And you want to tap it in a little bit so it doesn't go anywhere. So it's gonna be all the way down below the ice. You wanna stick it right through your little eyes right here. So you just want that up off the ground, not too far, you know, maybe 6-8 inches off the bottom. Because then beavers are gonna come out from below and they're gonna swim along the bottom for a little while before they get up below the ice. And so as you can tell, you want it to sit just like that.
Alaska. For Laramy Miller, it ain't the last frontier, but the new one. A new frontier for trapping beaver.
And beavers are gonna come out from below and they're gonna swim along the bottom for a little while. And so as you can tell, you want it to sit just like that. And so I'm gonna tighten these down however I want it. This wire right here comes up to the top. This other log is gonna go along the top of the ice. And that's to keep this from, say the beaver goes in there and gets something caught and he's still alive and he flops around. Well, you don't want this coming and going underneath the ice. So that's what this log is for, to keep your trap in the same spot. I've already got my hole here. It's already chopped out. It hasn't really froze over. I'm gonna have to be real careful walking on this ice and moving around because it's pretty deep right there. Before you put it down in the water, check your safeties. Make sure your safeties aren't on.
Trapping didn't begin with the mountain men. It did not begin with the Indians. Trapping is as old as hunting itself, as old as finding food and hides. And Laramy's knowledge is as ancient as the first trappers.
And there you go. So let's hope that beaver comes swimming out, goes right through, and there you go.
Trapping is worldwide and from before history. The mountain man's was a unique way of life.
You know, you wonder, you never hear stories about mountain men in Alaska. Inuits and, you know, some of the guys that live up here, and they live like the mountain men used to, kinda. But this country's so harsh that you get stuck out here without shelter, you're probably not gonna make it through. It's built for a mountain man. It makes me wonder, you know, were there mountain men out here that we just don't know about, or there stories that I haven't heard?
Alaska had few mountain men on horseback, but there were other trappers and explorers from different countries.
You know, whenever I go a place, I like to look at the history. I'm here in Alaska doing some trapping, and Alaska was actually originally owned by Russia, and then we bought it from then, and so on and so forth. But the reason the Russians were here is they were trapping sea otter. And it's kind of coincidence, I'm here trapping. That's the reason the Russians were here. Here's remnants of an old church. There's an old little village that these people still live like traditional Russia. You know, they still live old school and dress in their old ways, and I think it's really neat to look at the history. And it all started with trapping.
Throughout Alaska, the old Russian names are still there. Baranov, Chichagov, Sitka, Kodiak.
We've got 3 traps right here, right outside the beaver lodge I'm gonna check. There's still some work in this area. You can see all the bubbles.
Oh, the last thing I want to do is fall through this sucker.
Nothing in that one. No luck. Oh, look at that. Oh, a nice little beaver.
In Alaska, Laramy Miller sees if his trapping knowledge from the Rockies will apply here. This is different country from what he's used to, with its own set of rules. Other cultures from other lands have left their mark, but beaver remain beaver wherever they're found.
Oh, look at that. Oh. Take all this off so I can reset. There you go. Nice Alaskan beaver. You know, if you look right here, this is a perfect little lodge. You can look over, and in the ice you can see they've got all these sticks and brush and stuff piled up right here for a winter food source. You can see where all the bubbles are. The beavers are coming right out of the lodge right here, going over, feeding on their winter food source, coming back in. They must have some more over there, because you can see where these beavers came out last night. If you look at all the grass and mud and whatnot, that's where they came out last night, and they were feeding and messing around. It's pretty neat, because I don't usually trap in the ice. Something different. You got to adapt to everything.
You adapt your ways, but the mountain man heart stays the same. No matter where you set your traps, ethics means checking them often.
A swing and a miss. Looks good. Oh. There you go. There you go. Look at that. I'm gonna reset this trap, go through, check the rest of them, take him back to the camp and get him skinned out. Maybe we can catch some more.
As old and worldwide as trapping is, it's not always well liked by some people in the modern age.
You know, people are always asking, well, why do we need to trap? We don't need to trap, that's primitive. Well, you look right here, you got this big beaver pond right here. You can see they've completely plugged up this culvert. Well, what's gonna eventually happen is it's gonna run over the top of this, it'll erode this little 2-track away, then they'll go down and they'll make another dam down there. This whole valley will eventually be all beaver dams. So it's taken away a bunch of ecosystem. They destroy so much property that if you don't manage them, there's gonna be houses flooded out, roadways flooded out, people's yards. They'll eat every tree around here. You won't have any trees left. I'm not saying you gotta trap every beaver. I don't want that. I want my kids to be able to trap beavers. But you have to manage the population.
Well, beaver, they're just like the rest of nature today. We humans have way too big an impact to stand back and do nothing to aid the environment.
It's an ethics thing. We go out, we hunt for substance, we've encroached on all their property. We owe it to them to manage their population. Because if we don't, they're gonna start dying of disease, they're gonna overtake everything, and there's not gonna be anything for any of us. It just drives me crazy when you get somebody that doesn't understand the big picture and says, we don't need trapping. Not only is trapping a way of life, it has to be done. That's a prime example of why.
In Alaska, feels as if he's found a new frontier home. Here, he's discovered untapped places to trap. It's a land to challenge you with its vastness and its harsh wonder. There's an edge and a bounty to it, unlike any other place he's known.
Well, as you can see right here in front of me, this is the catch from the last few days. Got some beavers and a couple muskrats. I'm gonna go ahead and skin them all out, get them taken care of, flesh the hides a little bit. The beaver meat I'm gonna keep because it's great for baiting bears, any kind of animal you want to bait. They love beaver meat. And if it gets to that point, I don't mind eating beaver meat myself. So beavers are pretty straightforward and simple to skin. You split them from the tail to the bottom of their jaw. You peel it all out, you cut around their legs, pull that out, and you're good to go. Flesh all the fat and nasty stuff off of it. Up here, I gotta get them back to my cabin, so I'm not gonna stretch them right here. I'll wait until I get back down there. I'll probably salt them good and freeze them. Be good to go. There's one down. Tell you what, these beaver hides are in perfect condition. You can look, if you take a look at some of this, I mean, you see how, thick, and it's early in the season, but compared to what we get down in Montana, up here, I mean, that's about prime season for us. Up here, they even get a little thicker because obviously it gets cold. You gotta be real careful with beaver hide because they're so thin that you can cut right through them really easy. Uh-oh. See how easily I cut through that? Rookie mistake. When you're doing baited sets for beaver, you take the castor, which is this little gland right down in here. I'll pull it out as soon as I get to that spot, but they'll secrete it on themselves and then they'll rub it all over, and it helps waterproof their hide. It's some stinky, nasty stuff though.
Luckily, as Lewis and Clark's right-hand cook said about buffalo intestine, the part that is not good to eat is not on the menu.
Beaver is actually really tasty. It's got a little bit of grease to it, but it's not gamey at all. Sometimes I'll take the tail and I'll boil it and make a stew broth out of it, but I really enjoy the backstrap. Fry them up, oh boy.
You may not have to wander all the way up to Alaska to eat fresh beaver backstrap, but that might make it taste even better.
Well, got those beaver skinned out. I got to start thinking now what I can make out of them.
When he fleshes and stretches these hides, he'll have for himself traditional plues. For many folks, they need look no farther than their backyard for their frontier. For others, the world is just too big and the pull of adventure too strong not to want to see what lies nearer the pole and west of the sunset.